Hey everyone, it's Chris here, and today I'm going to be doing a full review of the backpack that I've been using for the last year and a half for all my multi-day hikes, the Lowe Alpine Cerro Torre 6585. So just to run through some initial specs of the backpack. It has an overall weight of 2.77 kilograms. The materials that it's made from is a combination of a 420D nylon with a Ripstop Grid and coated with a Trishield coating, and that's what Lowe Alpine calls its Trishield technology. And as the name of the pack indicates, it's got a base capacity of 65 litres, which can be expanded up to 85 litres in total. So let's first talk about the back system. So the back system that the Cerro Torre uses is what they call the Axiom 7 system. And effectively what that means is it's got an adjustable harness that allows the shoulder straps to move up and down. And that's by using this orange pull tab here, which you actually pull out and it unlocks the mechanism in there so that you can actually move the shoulder straps up and down. Right through here you've got really nice padding. There are little rails along here as well, which are really designed to be air pockets for your back, just so that you've got a bit of airflow through there. I find that I've got a little bit of space anyway between my back and the center part of the pack here, so that does create a bit of airflow in there. And then down here, the lumbar support at the bottom is really nice and padded as well. The hip belt as well has really nice padding through there. That's a nice thick foam in there and just feels really comfortable on your hips as you're walking along. And the way that you do the fastening for the hip belt is with this nice big buckle at the bottom, and then you've also got a sternum strap as well. One of the only issues I've had with the pack so far is that I did actually snap the little plastic clip here when I was tensioning it up one day on a hike, and I think it was just because I pulled on that a little bit too hard, so it just snapped off. But fortunately I was able to pick up another one pretty easily, and I've just replaced that. That's the only thing that I've replaced so far. That's also just got a little whistle on it built in as well, so you don't need to carry a separate whistle. That's actually built in there. Next I'll go through all of the external features on the pack. So starting on the front side here, you've got an external pocket on the front here, and that one is a pretty good size. I generally keep something like a map and compass in there, and maybe some toilet paper or tissues as well. So that's a good size pocket. You've also got some loops here to be able to run some cord through, some bungee cord, if you wanted to actually strap that on and then have the ability to store anything externally, maybe some wet weather gear or whatever it might be, on the outside here. So that's really handy. You've also got this lifter handle here, and there is one on the back as well. And I find this one really useful because I generally use that to help sort of stabilize the pack when I'm picking it up and getting it onto my back. You've got loops here as well at the top for an ice axe or trekking poles to be looped into. And down the bottom of the pack here, there's also tip grippers for your trekking poles as well. So they're right down the bottom there, one on each side. So I've found them to be really useful just when I've needed to stow my trekking poles if I'm climbing over boulders or, scrambling over rocks or whatever. Really good little feature. On this backpack, as well as having a normal top entry up here where the lid is, you've actually got a couple of other options to access this pack. Now, the first one is actually on the front side here, and it's actually these two zips open out, and you've actually got the option to access the pack from here. Now, I don't really use this one, or I haven't used it so far. As you can see, I normally carry a pack liner in my pack, so I've got that in there at the moment just to show you. So generally I sort of use this more as a traditional backpack and access it from the top. But if you wanted to have another option, you do have that option to open it from the front side here as well. In addition to that, you've also got a bottom entry as well. So just at the bottom here, you've also got these two zips which open up, and that provides you with a bottom entry into the pack as well. Now usually it's going to be for probably a sleeping bag. If you wanted to just grab your sleeping bag out separately, then you've got the option to do that. And there is a little internal compartment inside here which zips away and allows you to separate this bottom compartment out from the rest of the pack. Again, I haven't really used this part of the pack at all to get things out, generally because I do have my pack liner in there and I do go in from the top to get everything out. But it's just another really handy little feature to have if you wanted to separate those two compartments and just wanted to be able to, say, pull your sleeping bag out from the bottom there. Going to the sides of the pack now. The first thing about the sides is that there are actually these two pockets here, one on each side, and they're just enormous pockets. They go right down to the bottom of the pack, and I'll normally use one of these to keep my tent poles in, and the other side I'll usually have something like my water filter and dirty water bag, but they're just really big pockets, so they're just handy to be able to keep things in and get easy access to. The next thing is on this side, you've actually got the little, I don't know if you can see that, that's the water port for your hose to come out. So I'll show you shortly, but this does have an internal bladder sleeve, so you can keep a water bladder in there, and that's the feed out for your hose for your bladder. Each side has these mesh pockets, and usually that's going to be for me to keep a water bottle in. On the other side I usually keep my trowel as well, but they're a really pretty good size in terms of the width. It's just, I find them just to be a little bit shallow. I would have preferred them to be just a little bit higher. A minor thing, but I just found them just to be a little bit too shallow. In terms of the storage as well on the hip belt, you've actually got a pocket on each side of the hip belt, and they're a really good size as well. I keep my phone in one of them, and then on the other side I'll keep sunscreen, lip balm, and maybe some snacks as well, just to be able to pull out as I'm hiking along. Coming back around to the back of the pack again, up the top here you've got this lifter handle, which is really handy, and then up the top here you've got a top storage pocket. I generally keep my wet weather gear up in here. It's a huge pocket, so I'll keep my rain jacket and rain pants in there, and maybe a head torch as well. Inside that you've also got a little orange clip here for your keyring. That's handy just to clip your car keys onto so you don't lose those. And right at the bottom of the pack here, you've also got this little pocket at the bottom which stores your rain cover. So I use that all the time when it's wet, just to keep the pack a bit drier, but that's just really handy to have and just stores away really neatly down there. And in terms of all the tensioning on the outside of the pack, there's just so many places to tension this thing. So you've got the normal ones on here on the lid that you can pull down. At the sides you've got tensioning straps at the top here. You've also got these ones down at the bottom to pull the tension in down the bottom there. You've also got these ones at the bottom here just to pull in the bottom, and you've even got tensioning straps here on the hip belt, so you can pull them in as well. So you can really get all of your gear nice and firmly cinched in once you've got it all packed in. And finally I'll go through the internal features of the pack as well. So just going to the inside of the pack now, from the top lid with these two straps. So you've got the underside of the lid here, and that's got a really nice big zip pocket in the inside of that. So again, I use that normally to keep my first aid kit and maybe, I don't know, some gloves or something in there. So that's a really handy pocket to have. The whole lid actually comes off altogether as well. So if you didn't want to have that on there, you can just take that off and basically have that removed if you didn't need it on there. Top is got a tensioning strap here, and then the top expansion gusset, you've got this draw cord here, so that opens up nice and wide, and then you can see how much additional room you've got in the top there with that expansion gusset. That adds a pretty significant amount of additional storage space in the top. Now I've just pulled out what I had inside the pack just to be able to try and show you guys the storage space in there. It's probably a bit hard to see down into it because it's so dark in there, but yeah, there's a significant amount of storage space in there, so it's a really good size. And then inside the pack, this is where you've got your hydration sleeve for your bladder. So as I said before, I've got a 3-litre bladder, and that fits really well down in that sleeve, and it's got the little clip here at the top so that you can just clip the top of your bladder onto that, so it just stays nice and secure. Now, as I was talking about before, when I was talking about this bottom entry point to the pack, it does actually have a separate section in here. So right now I've got that zipped off and separated from the main compartment of the pack. So it's really designed probably just to keep a sleeping bag in that bottom section, which I normally do anyway, but as I said, I access the pack from the top. But if you want to just open that up, it just zips open here, and you can zip that open, and then that just folds down, and then you've got just a single compartment for the whole pack. So that's a full list of the specs and features of the Cerro Torre. So now, what do I think of the pack based on the experience I've had with it in the last year and a half? Overall, I've found this to be a fantastic backpack. It's just been really good to use on all of the overnight and multi-day hikes that I've done over the last year and a half. So let me talk about some of the main things that I really like about this pack. The first thing is just how comfortable it is. When I first went and tried on some different backpacks and loaded them up with some weight, this was the one for me that just really stood out. It just felt really comfortable on my back and my hips, and just really fitted my body well, and was definitely a clear choice over the other ones that I tried. So that's definitely the first thing, is the comfort factor. The second thing I really like about it is the build quality. It just feels like a really solid build, and the materials that they've used are really hard wearing. So I've had this dragging along rocks and brushing past tree branches and that sort of stuff, and it's never had any issues with tearing or anything. So really good, solid, hard wearing materials that they've used. I really like that about it. And the third thing is just how easy it is to get access with the various external storage options that it has. So rather than having to stop all the time and open up the pack to get down into my gear in the inside compartment, there's plenty of pockets on the outside that I can use, and it's just easy to access my gear either as I'm walking along, or just easy to access something on the outside of the pack when I stop for a break. So what about the things that I don't like about the Cerro Torre? There's probably only 2 real things that I would say stand out. The first of those is the weight of the pack. So as I said earlier, it's 2.77 kilograms. That as a starting weight before even adding any gear into it is pretty heavy, and it's really just a result of the number of different materials and features that they've added onto this pack. That all obviously contributes to the weight of it. But if I was out looking for another pack today, I'd probably be looking at something that's got a more simple setup, less bells and whistles if you like, and just something that's going to be lighter weight based on that more simple design. And the only other thing I can probably fault about this pack is just the mesh pockets on the sides. And this is probably a little bit picky, but it's just that I found them to be a little bit shallow, and I kind of find myself worrying that a water bottle is going to pop out of it. And I have actually had that happen once and did lose a water bottle as a result of that. So I would have liked those pockets just to be a bit deeper, so that they just hold a water bottle in there more securely. But it's a minor thing. But apart from those 2 things, everything else about the Cerro Torre has been perfect for what I've needed, and I can definitely see myself continuing to use this pack for a little while yet. So that's it. That is my full review of the Lowe Alpine Cerro Torre 6585 and my opinion based on the experience that I've had with it so far. If you got anything out of this video, hit the like button, and if you've got any questions or comments about the backpack, leave a comment down below. And if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel yet, hit the subscribe button. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you out on the trail next time.